This is Land of Havilah, Job 39. Yahweh will continue asking questions that if Job were the least bit fair to Yahweh, he would have already asked himself. Verse 1. Do you know the time when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears fawns? Can you count the months that they fulfill? Or do you know the time when they give birth? They bow themselves, they bear their young, they end their labor pains. Their young ones become strong, they grow up in the open field. They go out and don't return again. Comment: Yahweh is the Lord of the pregnancy, delivery, and maturation of the wild animals until they strike out on their own. Job would not know how to orchestrate that. Verse 5. Who has set the wild donkey free, or who has loosened the bonds of the swift donkey, whose home I have made in the wilderness, and the salt land his dwelling place? He scorns the tumult of the city, neither does he hear the shouting of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture. He searches after every green thing. Comment: the same donkey that man supposes to be dependent on him can be set loose and make it on his own just fine. Just him and Yahweh, thank you. The wild donkey scorns the thought of being subject to man. Now switching from wild donkeys to wild oxen, verse 9. Will the wild ox be content to serve you, or will he stay by your feeding trough? Can you hold the wild ox in the furrow with his harness, or will he till the valleys for you? Will you trust him because his strength is great, or will you leave to him your labor? Will you confide in him that he'll bring home your seed and gather the grain of your threshing floor? Comment: obviously a wild ox will not pull a plow or do any other work for Job. He won't work for Job when Job's present, and he certainly won't work for Job when Job is absent. Job couldn't control him, yet Yahweh controls him. The wild ox obeys Yahweh perfectly. He does exactly what Yahweh has taught him. Verse 13. The wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but are they the feathers and plumage of love? For she leaves her eggs on the earth, warms them in the dust, and forgets that the foot may crush them or that the wild animal may trample them. She deals harshly with her young ones as if they were not hers. Though her labor is in vain, she is without fear, because God has deprived her of wisdom, neither has he imparted to her understanding. When she lifts up herself on high, she scorns the horse and his rider. Comment: here's another wonder. Human mothers worry to no end about bearing and raising their young. Not so the ostrich, but what the ostrich lacks in intelligence, love, and concern, Yahweh makes up. He gives her reproductive success. She's not worried about her intellectual poverty a bit. She boldly lifts herself up against the horse and rider with her simple mind and prevails. Yahweh makes her adequate. Verse 19. Have you given the horse might? Have you clothed his neck with a quivering mane? Have you made him to leap as a locust? The glory of his snorting is awesome. He paws in the valley and rejoices in his strength. He goes out to meet the armed men. He mocks at fear and is not dismayed, neither does he turn back from the sword. The quiver rattles against him, the flashing spear and the javelin. He eats up the ground with fierceness and rage, neither does he stand still at the sound of the trumpet. As often as the trumpet sounds, he snorts, aha! He smells the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains, and the shouting. Comment: a horse is a big, bad fighting machine. He eats up the ground, meaning he charges into battle with no fear or hesitation. Yahweh made the horse bold. The horse senses when there's a battle shaping up, but is he afraid of spears and javelins and bloodshed? No, he gets excited and can't wait. He paws at the ground to get going. Yahweh blessed him with attitude. Verse 26. Is it by your wisdom that the hawk soars and stretches her wings toward the south? Is it at your command that the eagle mounts up and makes his nest on high? On the cliff he dwells and makes his home, on the point of the cliff and the stronghold. From there he spies out the prey. He sees it afar off. His young ones also suck up blood. Where the slain are, there he is. Comment: hawks and eagles are also Yahweh's marvels. They soar. They claim the best real estate by nesting in high places and cliffs, impregnable fortresses with commanding views. When man goes to battle, hawks and eagles win every time because they feed on the fallen. What a niche Yahweh has carved out for them. Job 40 is next.